Can I start? We're good to go?
You're clear.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Excellent. Friends, citizens, Bitcoiners, there is nothing new under the sun. My name is Charlie Shrem, and I speak to you today from under house arrest. The last few weeks, we've seen several examples of legal outbursts. We've seen the police abusing the measures available to them. We've seen the actions of the financial services industry. We've seen high-profile politicians mobilizing in order to protect the financial and banking industry. All of this is scandalous without parallel, and that is why I stand here today. The financial and banking industry wants to convince us that it's only about illegal payments, that it's about protecting the integrity of the status quo. It's a pretext, my friends. We need to look at the big picture. Bitcoin is about something entirely different. To understand today's situation in the light of history, we need to go 400 years back to when the church had a monopoly on culture and knowledge. What the church said went. Pyramid communication. There is one person at the top talking to a number of others down a pyramid. Culture and knowledge had a source, and that source was the church. And may God have mercy on those who dare to challenge the church's monopoly on culture and knowledge. They were subjected to the most horrible legal abuse at the time. And under no circumstances the church allowed the citizens to spread information on their own. They governed all law enforcement, prevention, punishment, and harassment. Ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing new under the sun. Today, we know the only right thing for the evolution of society was to let that knowledge go free. That Galileo was indeed right, even if he was infringing on the knowledge monopoly. We're talking about a time when the church went out in force, promoting the idea that citizens didn't have to learn to read, since the priest would tell them they needed to know anyway. The church knew what it would mean if they lost control. Along came the printing press, and suddenly there was not only one source of knowledge to listen to, but several. The citizens who had started to learn to read, take part in unsanctioned knowledge. The church was furious. Royal families were furious. The British royal family even went so far as a new law that said that only print approved by the royal family were not to print books, supplying knowledge and culture for their citizens. Sound familiar? Then, a couple of hundred years passed by, and the freedom of the press was created. But everywhere, the same old model of communication, sorry, excuse me one second. Can you guys hear me okay? Hold on one second. I just had to disconnect the intercom at the door. I don't care who's coming to my house. All right, where was I? Yes. So along came the printing press, right? Suddenly, there was not only one source of knowledge to listen to, but several. The citizens who had started to learn to read, as I said, can then take part in unsanctioned knowledge. The church was furious. Then a couple of years, 100 years passed by, and the freedom of the press was created. But everywhere, the same model of communication still exists. One person talking to the many. There were different people to listen to, but everywhere, it was still one person talking to the many. And this was eventually used by the state in introducing a system that was then called a liable publisher. The citizens will indeed be able to take part of knowledge, but only if there would be someone to answer to. Say, a horrible thought would pardon the wrong knowledge, not sanctioned by the state. And this, my friends, is what is changing in the Bitcoin culture today. Because the internet longer abides by this model. We no longer simply use old legacy systems given to us from the top down. We upload at the same time, and we want to transact instantly to others. Knowledge and culture have amazing its central point of control. And this is the central point of transacting payments. The old mass media model shares a central control point. A control point responsible party with the risk of their license being revoked, and so on and so forth, where everyone can transact from the central point of control. The license holders give as they see fit. We've seen how central control. This equals points of failure. We saw a few months ago Visa card central data center in Canada go offline. Many Canadian Visa debit or credit card was disconnected from the finances. Life screeched halt. And this was only for 24 hours. A few weeks ago, we saw 100 million customers of Target stores, identities and financial information. And now their financial deals of a bunch of hackers. Payment, transactional monopoly, control. Importantly, Bitcoin constitutes simultaneous downloading from every connected person and completely lacks a central point of failure or control. It's a situation, payments and information organically flow to different people at the same time. Fundamentally different. This is something completely new in the history of communication. And as I said before, Bitcoin is one of the largest socio-economic experiments humankind has ever seen. And this is exactly why we are going to change the world. Started Bitcoin Foundation for this exact purpose. Mutual dialogue with the government on creating safe regulations around Bitcoin that do not allow for stifling innovation. I applaud those regulators, such as Mr. Ben Losky of New York, who see this vision, hopefully is committed to keeping innovation alive and thrive. Before I step down and take that instant, he was honored to have worked with his office for over a year. Look, illegal payments are illegal. However, using it as an excuse, ban, or to assert control is merely a distraction. There are those who are setting down our culture. During the last... Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, I'll give you a phone call right now. Who's that? Hey, Chase. I'm calling you right now because we're getting to a really important part. What's the number? 1-972-679-0737. It's okay. I'm calling you right now.
All right, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me okay?
It's a little better, yeah.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. All right, that was a problem. You should mute, yeah.
Okay, try now.
Testing 1 2 3. Turn our other microphones off in the room besides my phone. On my computer and phone, it's muted.
Charlie, we need you to
mute your computer. I already did.
All right, try for me.
Testing 1 2 3. Does it work? I don't hear an echo anymore.
We're good. Yeah. My mic.
All right. Nothing.
I don't know how he's here.
Oh, mute.
Oh, mute. It's on mute. I must be on the laptop. Is there a mic on the laptop?
Oh, maybe I have to mute.
Charlie, give us 1 second.
Wait, try now. I made my computer lower.
There you go.
You guys hear me okay?
All right.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, no problem.
Can you hear me okay now? Is it good?
Yeah.
All right. So I can't really hear anyone else, but I guess we can turn it on when there's a Q&A. So to backtrack a little bit, as I was saying, Bitcoin transacting, it constitutes up and downloading from every connected person, and it lacks the central point of control. It's a situation where payments and information can organically flow between millions of different people at the same time. And there are people bent on making this not a reality. During the last few weeks, we've seen how far a player is prepared to go to prevent a loss of control. We saw the Constitution being violated. We saw young MIT students pressured with government subpoenas merely for creating a proof of concept. I saw my personal freedom lost when I was arrested off the plane, stripped naked, searched, and my body violated, handcuffed, and escorted out of JFK Airport while returning home from a trip with my girlfriend. We saw how forced measures and restrictions of personal integrity were used by the police, not for fighting crime, but for the obvious purpose of harassing the ones involved and everyone who has been anywhere near them. There is nothing new under the sun, and history will always repeat itself. This is not about illegal payments. This is about control over transactional culture and knowledge, because he who controls them controls the world. The financial and banking industry has tried to shame us, telling us what we're doing is illegal. We are pirates, they say. They're trying to push us down under some rock. But look around you today. See how they failed. Yes, we're pirates. The one who thinks being a pirate is a shame is mistaken. It is something we need to be proud of. Because we've already seen what it means to be without a central point of culture. We've already tasted. We've smelt. We felt the freedom of being without a central monopoly of transactional culture and knowledge. We've already learned to read and write. And we're not about to forget how to learn to read and write, just because it's not fit in the eyes of the laws of yesteryear. My name is Charlie. I'm a Bitcoiner, and let's change the world.
Thank you, everyone. We've got time for a lot of Q&A here, so please come up to the mic with any questions. I'm going to be forming a queue right here at the center aisle.
I can't hear anything that's going on over there. I don't even know if there was an applause.
Hold on just a second. Can you hear me now?
A lot of applause.
I hear you now, yeah.
Okay, what I'm going to do, people are going to ask questions. I'm going to relay those questions to you.
Can we pass my mic through?
To my phone? No.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Or people can come over here and talk into your phone.
Yeah, that's probably better. Let's do that. That's a good idea. So everyone that wants to ask questions for the Q&A, please come up to the phone. We're going to probably put it on speaker, or?
Yeah, well, they'll ask a question. I'm going to have to remute it when he starts talking again. So just if you want to come over here and ask him a question.
No rush. Don't everybody jump up at once. All right, we're getting the first people. So it's going to be on the phone. Okay.
Hi, Charlie. I'm a little bit ignorant about these arrest procedures and processes.
Please.
What? Put the mic on him as well?
Oh. So my question, Charlie, is about just how these are... Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get it right. So I'm trying to understand how the just what is happening with you right now. You've been arrested. I know you're under house arrest, but what happens next and what's going on?
Oh, I don't know if you guys can see, but I have an ankle bracelet on my foot, and I can't really go anywhere. I'm pretty much confined to my house or to my lawyer's office or to the court. And in terms of what's next, I'm not really sure. There's not much clarity on the situation right now. I have to charge this thing every day. It's like I have to build the prison that houses me.
Yes.
Charlie, I just want to say that was the most awesome thing I've seen in years. That speech is phenomenal. And
Thank you.
I'm one of your biggest fans. I do this thing on World Bitcoin Network, but what you did right now is amazing. And I just saw I actually didn't see it. I listened to the Let's Talk Bitcoin where Andreas, Stephanie, yourself, and Adam spoke at length about your case. And it really just seems like the most ridiculous case of all time. I mean, third party, fifth party. It's almost like I feel like I could be arrested tomorrow just for walking down the street. But
I wouldn't be surprised.
But I think there's a number of people here who might like to hear some of that stuff that you said on Let's Talk Bitcoin about the specific problem with the case. And how it was structured, because I think you said it really beautifully there, and it might need to be reheard.
Sure, I can say what I'm comfortable and legally allowed to say. Essentially, the case comes down to conspiracy, as I understand it, to commit money laundering, which means that I intentionally had supported Silk Road, and I had sold Bitcoin to users of Silk Road, which anyone who has used BitInstant in those days knows that BitInstant was a payment processor for various exchanges. So what BitInstant in fact did was just give you dollars on any exchange that you had an account that was already approved by that exchange. So the user flow would essentially work like this. You'd have to open up an account on Mt. Gox Bitstamp, get it verified and approved, and we all know how hard it is to get an account verified on one of those exchanges. It could take weeks. Then you come to BitInstant and you say, please put $200 in my Mt. Gox account so I can then buy Bitcoin. You would then deposit money to one of our cash deposit locations, and then we would transfer the dollars from our large account at the exchange to your account. And then the transaction was completed. The case in question talks about how essentially, allegedly, this guy, BTC King, was allegedly advertising the ability to buy Bitcoin with cash on the Silk Road. Now, allegedly, what he did was the customer would pay him, and then he'd simply send the customers to BitInstant. Now, BitInstant would have no way of recognizing a customer for buying anything. We didn't even sell Bitcoin. So his customer would go on, transfer into their own accounts, and then allegedly, once they had done running their accounts, they would then buy Bitcoin, allegedly, and then allegedly send those Bitcoins to Silk Road, and then allegedly buy something illicit on Silk Road, and then allegedly get it shipped to their house. There were like 6 or 7 steps in between me and that process, and I was only part of that process. None of the physical dollars were ever handled by BitInstant. They were gone into money transmitter-based accounts, either MoneyGram or Western Union, but none of those guys are in jail. And I believe that it's because I've been such an outspoken evangelist for Bitcoin.
So, talking to the phone?
Yeah, you can't move the phone farther, though.
Yeah, talking to
Go
the
ahead.
phone.
Hi, Charlie. I was wondering if you could shed some light on any attempts the government try to like seize your Bitcoin assets, and if there's any particular storage method that you think is good against that.
Two-factor authentication and backup keys. And just, there has been an attempt, I can't comment any further, but, you have to make sure that your Bitcoins are safe. I think that one of the best ways are paper wallets with multiple backups in different locations, get 38 encrypted with a passphrase, so even if someone does get that paper wallet, then they need to know your passcode in order to do that.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Charlie. So this question's regarding MT Gox. I know that you've been a friend, or I don't know how friendly, but I know that you've known Mark Karpeles for quite a while. And, you had that infamous Reddit post a week ago saying, I expect some good news next week from MT Gox regarding him stepping down, which happened to be in a document that was leaked. I was wondering if you could shed some light on the whole situation. Perhaps tell us what you know. There's a lot of people here who have lost life-changing amounts of, money, who are quite distraught with the situation. And, there's lots of speculation. So if you could shed some light on that.
Sure. First and foremost, I'm one of those people who lost money in Mt. Gox myself. And in a time where every dollar counts, especially when it comes to legal bills, it is making my life a little bit more difficult. And I'm really sorry to anyone who has lost money on Mt. Gox, and I'm especially sorry if I gave anyone false hope by that Reddit post. That Reddit post, like you said, essentially I said there's hopefully good news on the horizon coming to Mt. Gox. I see good news on the horizon. And that stemmed from the fact that we had all known Mark for a very long time to be very kind of non-communicative, not really a person who cared about, I guess, Bitcoin long term, or you can assume that he was just kind of stubborn. And what had happened over that weekend before the document was leaked was Mark kind of changed his personality. He for the first time ever, he actually came to a Bitcoin Foundation board meeting over a Google Hangout. No one had ever spoken to him on the Foundation board before. It's usually his proxy, Gonzalez. And immediately, before any convincing, he immediately said, I am stepping down from the Foundation. And Roger Veal was in his office. And we said, Mark, can you tell us any more information about what's going on? And Roger had said, I'm working with them on hopefully something good will come out of this. And the fact that Mark had changed his whole attitude around, and he had, besides for Roger, other advisors that were working with him on that, showed me that hopefully there will be some good news on the horizon. Little did I know that the document would leak, and I was completely wrong, 180 degrees incorrect. So I'm really sorry about that.
One quick follow-up? Yeah, this is just a follow-up. There's a lot of speculation, but in your opinion, do you think the coins were actually stolen in some sort of malleability attack, or do you think perhaps it was fraudulent on Mark's behalf, where perhaps he prop traded the coins or tried to do some sort of arbitrage after he had $10 million seized?
The latter. I mean, I've been losing sleep over this the past few nights. I called up a lot of my good friends who were PhD mathematicians. I spoke to David Perry, and actually meet David Perry from Coding in My Sleep, Adam Levine, and Napoleon, and a few other people put together our analysis on letstalkbitcoin.com in two parts, part one and part two. And in the first part, we didn't have any kind of answer to where the coins had gone, but we essentially outlined the math, and we said there's no possible way that these coins could have been hacked, because if you do the math, you're talking about, even if you're talking about when the coins were at 5 cents, and the hackers started taking coins the first day Mark opened up Mt. Gox 4 years ago. You're talking about over $40,000 missing from their books a month, more than $1,000 a day. I mean, in those days they weren't doing that much business. It's not something you notice. You don't notice that $500 million just go missing. It's not physically possible, and that kind of like pissed us off a little bit. So we did some analysis, and we talked about this in the panel an hour ago, in the Mt. Gox panel. But a lot of us, it's very highly speculative, obviously. but we kind of took a lot of proof, not only from that 424242.424242 transaction that Mark did to move his money in 2011 to prove solvency, but we also found other transactions and also addresses that Mark had said this was my green address, for example. And all of those addresses fall into that chain. But I'm fairly confident that, we at least found between 90,000, around 90,000 of those coins, because they're still sitting there today. Maybe it's not, maybe it is. Again, it's highly speculative, but I can't go to sleep at night thinking to myself, I 100% believe that those coins were hacked. It doesn't make any sense.
Thanks. Thank you.
Hey, Charlie, Bruce Fenton. I wanted to thank you for your words just now. I think, like a lot of people, when your case first came out, I didn't know you. I didn't know your background. And my first reaction was, hey, this guy's a bad guy. He's making Bitcoin look bad. And then I did some more research on what your case was. I saw how your name was used as a tool in the New York hearings, and I saw some of this other stuff with HSBC and some of these other things going on. And I stepped back a minute and I say, wait a minute, this guy isn't the bad guy. The regulators are the bad guys here. And I think that a lot of us, would be making a mistake for people trying to, not recognize that your case is something that could happen to a lot of other people. And so my question is, on this timing of your arrest, the authorities have said that it was a complete coincidence. They said it had nothing to do with the hearings. They said it wasn't a publicity event. And I call BS on that. And I think that I wanted to see what your thoughts are on that, and if anybody has done a Freedom of Information Act request to request of the regulators and the people who arrested you to see their emails and see if they did this as publicity, because it certainly seems like that.
To be honest with you, I can never say 100% what you're right, but I am like 99.9% sure, because there's so many things that fall into play. I mean, first of all, as I said in my speech, I was working with the DA's office and the Department of Financial Services for over a year. I was in their office once a month. I was supposed to be at those hearings. I was literally walking into their arms the next day at the hearing. I was going to the court to the court. I was going to be there. Right? It doesn't make any sense. They know where I was. They know where I lived. I would have easily come in. I sent agreements working with them. Further, I feel like the agent who arrested me didn't even know what he was arresting me for, right? He didn't even read the charges read it. First, he arrested me. They said, Charlie, you're arrested for failing to file currency transaction reports. And I said, wait, you mean suspicious activity report? He's like, oh, yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. Like, come on, really? So, I mean, you can't say it for sure. And then, in Ben Losky's Ask Me Anything on Reddit the other day, someone said, was it a PR stunt? And he said, I can assure you, absolutely not. And the next question was, did you have any idea this was going on? And he said, no, I'm not involved in that office. So how can you say absolutely not when you're not even involved in that office? You're contradicting yourself right there. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I would support anyone who's willing to file a Freedom of Information Act, because I want to know myself. But right now, I'm just focusing on getting freedom back, and being okay and not going to jail, because I wouldn't survive in prison.
We've got about 18 more minutes of Q&A. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, hi, Charlie. There has been a couple of threads on Bitcoin Talk about a few Mt. Gox addresses that has been located, containing like 150,000 Bitcoins, and then a few other addresses containing like 90,000. And there has not, according to blockchain, there has not been any transaction from those addresses. What are your thoughts about that?
I just commented on that a few minutes ago. Thankfully, and unfortunately, at first, a lot of those were kind of like just speculation. People posting an address and saying, "Here, look, there are no, nothing, there's still coins in them," but no one had done a full analysis. So, thanks to the Reddit community and the Mt. Gox chat room on IRC and the Mt. Gox statement room on IRC. I have to get credit when credit is due. We gathered, 5 of us gathered all of the evidence, and over like a 12-hour Skype call, kind of did all the analysis. And then what we did was, before we published it, we sent it out to the owner of Quantum Bytes, a company that does blockchain analysis. And he actually confirmed our data and created a diagram where you can kind of visually see the money flow, and it's on the website as well. And further, we sent it out to a bunch of core devs like Greg Maxwell and everything. And then Greg Maxwell said, this is speculation, blah, blah, blah. He couldn't really say that it wasn't true. So we put a disclaimer on the top of the site saying this is speculation. But I think a lot of us, lean in that position because it's just highly improbable that those coins were actually stolen or lost.
Thank you.
Hi, Charlie. My name is Jose Rodriguez. I come from Mexico City. I actually work at Citigroup Mexico. That if you saw the news, 500 billion fraud just happened this week.
Oh, yeah. I'm close with Norv Vonnegut, who I think was telling me about that.
Yeah.
How that branch lost $400 million, right?
Right. And that's only one of 3 frauds. Actually, I found the first one a year ago, which isn't public. And my boss is actually in jail. And there's another from insiders, too. So what I think is there should be the ones in jail, not you. They're the ones stealing millions, not you. And actually, what you can do with here and the new system, and actually I'm creating my investment company, is you can track it down, you can audit it, you can open books, because in 10 years, supposedly, no one saw his fraud. So if I didn't found it out and documented it, no one would have seen it, and money there would really have been disappearing. Not like in Mt. Gox, this money was created and disappeared. So they should be the criminals that should be in house arrest, in jail, not you, man.
Thank you. Can you contact me?
Sorry?
Can you contact
me? I'm pretty easy to get in touch
actually,
with.
You know what happened? I became haunted in Citigroup instead of being congratulated by powerful people. So I'm quitting my job.
Well, if you need a job, I'm sure any of those people in the audience would love to have you.
Sorry? Sorry?
I said if you're ready to quit your job and come full time into the Bitcoin world, I'm sure a lot of those people in the audience would love to have you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, Charlie, this is Jason King from Sean's Outpost, man. How you doing?
I love you, man. What's up?
I love you too, man. Hey, yeah, so you sent me some awesome free Shrem T-shirts that I've been running around the country in, and I thought you might want to plug that address for anybody that wants to grab one of those shirts here.
Yeah, so let me show everyone what the shirt looks like. You can go to itstshirttime.com with a dash and get one of these shirts.
Free Shrem!
It's tshirttime.com. It's spelled IT-S, T-shirt time, whatever. Or it's T-shirt. You'll figure it out. pretty simple.
Yeah, man, and I just wanted to tell you, stay strong, dude. We all love you, and you're still a huge part of this community, man. And
thank you. I appreciate that.
We care about you. And
if anyone's going to be in New York around the Inside Bitcoins conference, we may put together a dinner or a Bitcoin meetup at my house in Brooklyn, so feel free to get in touch, anyone.
And what kind of beer should we send to you, man? Because you said you were looking for 6-packs, so just tell us.
I love Blue Moon, but anything exotic is good.
All right, man, cool. Stay strong, Charlie.
Thanks.
Hey, Charlie, it's Napoleon.
Hey, what's up, Napoleon?
So you're going outside tomorrow, is that right? You get a little bit of freedom?
I get a little bit of air tomorrow. I get a few hours.
All right. Well, we're happy to have you here, and I think that the session's coming to an end, but do you have anything else that you would like to say to the audience before we cut you off?
Well, like I said before, I'm really easy to get in touch with. I have a lot of time on my hands, and while I can't really use my brain at the moment, feel free to use it for your picking. I'm easy to email. It's just charlie@theinstant.com, or just shoot me a tweet at Charlie Shrem, and I'll reply with my email address. Or a lot of ways, if you go to charlieshrem.com, my email address is right there, so it's pretty available.
Awesome, Charlie. Well, I'm going to let you hear. We're going to keep the mute off here and let the crowd give you a round of applause for coming to talk to us.
Thank you, everyone.